Welcome to episode 6 of Trust Your Journey with Nelson Navarro podcast. This is a podcast by me, Nelson Navarro, where every month I'm speaking with a new guest to dive into their stories and share what is interesting about that so you can strengthen and soothe your mind for those tough days ahead. Because have I told you yet that they're coming? You know I have. And the question remains, will you be prepared? So, today you're listening to a conversation between me and a good friend of mine, currently making music under the alias Mac Perry. He's a 21-year-old rapper, singer, songwriter, and producer. And something impressive about him is how he's been overcoming the challenges of being a performer and recording artist affected by dyspraxia. That's a condition that impacts movement, coordination, and dexterity. You can hear more about it in the episode. Mac is a kind soul who loves to see local talent shining, helping others through youth work in Brighton while he's studying a music production undergraduate degree at Northbrook College. He's a self-professed video game lover, and you can listen to his debut single called All the Time on Spotify, Apple Music, and more. See what he's up to on Instagram using the handle @MacPerrynays, that's Perry with a Y, and stick around to the end of the episode if you fancy your 24 hours of fame. But for now, sit back and enjoy. All right, Shaman, welcome to the podcast, aka Mac Perry. How are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, just been chilling, making music at home and at uni. I've been making a load of mixture of music from sort of drill, jazz, hip hop, sort of a little bit of soul as well, like with rap elements in it. And just normal hip-hop. I'm just making loads of different sort of songs, different genres, and just trying to create like a collection of the ones I want to release eventually to the public. And yeah, overall, apart from that, like I've been a bit quiet on social media. I've not really like posting loads, and I think COVID's like affected that a bit. Sometimes I've not really been motivated to post loads of stuff on social media, but it doesn't mean that I've been quiet. I've just been more private with my content, but the content is there. It just needs mastering and mixing, and that's the difference between me and my last persona. As you know, my last persona was Dyspraxia, and I was putting everything out there, and I would be making the song, and then it'd be out 2 hours after I've made that song. Yeah. And like tagging like 100 friends on Facebook and expecting to get loads of praise for it, when in fact it's just a bunch of demos. And if I would have said they were demos, then I probably would have got a bit more praise for it.
Nice.
But actually saying that these are like finished products, it just doesn't particularly work. Just doesn't really particularly work well for the people that I've shared if they're just listening to really rough.
And what makes
bounces.
you say that? What makes you say that it's more of a demo than anything else you could call it?
Just the quality, just in terms of like the mixing, the mastering quality isn't particularly great. There's kind of areas of, for example, if I'm recording a chorus and I've got a few layers and it's not quite in pitch, or it could be done better in terms of bussing or just changing the vocal a little bit, which with flex pitch, then it could be more releasable if I decided to apply those changes to make the audio sound a lot sharper in the product.
For people who are listening, these kinds of things that we're describing, these are all just kind of like post-production things that you do to just maybe make a recording sound a little bit more like what you would hear on the radio. You know, things don't come out of a microphone sounding ready to go on the radio. There's a big process, you know, as you and I will know, Shaman, in it, like it's a big process to get a song from just how you said it and how you performed it in a studio to being something that you might hear on the radio or like see on a big music video. Do you want me to call you Mac or Shaman while we're chatting as well? Because you're my friend, so I'll say I call you Shaman, but you know we're people are listening to us right now on Spotify. So how do you want me to refer to you?
Mac, because there might be people that haven't heard who I am before, like particularly on your side, they might not have heard know who I am. I mean, you can call me Shaman if you want from time to time, but Mac as much as possible. But it's all right to dip in and out from that.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, okay, that being said, thank you for coming on the podcast as well, because I know we've been meaning to do this for a little while. So it's great to get here, because I feel like you and me, we're always having chats about just really in-depth stuff, like just going off, getting really deep, like talking about music or talking about what it's like being in Brighton at the moment and being in the music scene. And how has that been for you? I know you haven't been posting on social media a lot. I've been kind of the same, not really posting a lot. I'm just doing it every now and again and just trying to keep my head on the actual work, really. But how have you found it, not going to gigs and stuff like that? What's your work rate been like? What's your mindset been like?
So basically, I've just been working on loads of stuff, just not posting on social media a lot, because I wanted to make sure that there was a load of stuff that I felt like I was comfortable with releasing. In terms of gigs, I've really been missing them, and ones that I've been trying to go to, I've not really had a lot of people that I can sort of go to these gigs with, because they're even an artist that people that I know, they don't really know, or just at the moment they're requiring tables for people to sit at, and I just want to go to it. I just sometimes, if it's somebody that I likes watching and nobody else that I know around sort of knows them, I'm just happy to go by myself and obviously see familiar faces and talk to them, just sort of vibe with them at the gigs, as obviously we know either the artist for their music or we know them personally as well, especially through Audioactive. As much as I love taking my mum occasionally to gigs, particularly in London, because she enjoys it as well. Yeah, sometimes she can't always do that. So I like to go to gigs by myself. So at the moment, the current setup due to COVID rules is not really ideal for me.
Yeah, man. I can relate a lot, to be honest, because I miss going out and just seeing people on a stage and being in a crowd of loads of people and just kind of forgetting that it's just forgetting about myself,
Yeah, exactly, because you're all there for that person watching that that act. So you're sort of in a bubble within it, within itself.
Yeah, for sure.
Without noticing that you haven't actually gone with anybody.
Because it's funny that you mention going to gigs on your own, because it's one of my favourite things to do. And I actually don't remember the last time I went to a gig on my own. What was the last gig that you actually went to?
Oh, I think it might have been either one of the last Custom Vibes, or I think it was a Dat Kid gig. In 2019.
Man.
He was performing at the Green Door store, and a few people that I didn't think were actually going to be there, seeing Dat Kid, was a bit mad. There was some of the Audioactive crew.
Yeah.
A few people I know sort of talking to Dat Kid. I remember being at the front of the crowds, because I went in there early. I was sort of on my own and just wanted to see the music. I didn't really know anybody that was around, sort of watching the sound check. So I sort of went in there early, and I remember Dat Kid just having his hand and just holding it on the top of my head as a joke. I don't know why he did it, but he did. And then all of a sudden, Compound from High Focus.
We love those boys. Anyone who wants to listen to their music, it's CMPND. But yeah, they're dope.
But they saw me in the crowd, and I just went up and I just rapped this double time verse, and then a few of his fans just started going mental for it.
Yeah.
And then I did it again towards the end, but obviously they were just wrapping up, so I didn't get a full appreciation from the second time I did it. But the first time I did it I definitely got a bit of appreciation from fans of his music. So just going up to Cypher and just doing it in front of a full capacity, and it was full capacity, at the Green Door store around 2019. I don't know, I think the last Custom Vibes gig that I went to, a guy none other known as Ardy. And yeah, he's an interesting fella nowadays.
He's very much a hot topic right now.
Yeah, and just seeing his growth, like from somebody that was coming through the ranks of Audioactive. Just seeing him as now, everybody knew that like he was going to be able to reach those heights, but I think it would have been a more gradual process rather than just going from thousands of views on a video, 5,000-6,000 views on a video, then all of a sudden, that's averagely, by the way. I know he's got a bit more on some of his other videos, but like just to go from that to all of a sudden every video is on a million views all over.
Yeah, and I guess for some people will know who we're talking about, but some people also maybe have not tuned into this. I mean, I guess, do you want to introduce people to like Audioactive first, and to maybe just let anyone listening know what Audioactive is and like and how you know them and how we know them?
Yeah, so Audioactive is a youth music organisation that helps musicians, local musicians, and just like kids just get into music. Well, they've been they haven't particularly had like the best experience with school, getting kicked out, getting sent to referral groups. And they just go in and just help people from all sort of backgrounds, learning abilities, and just generally just helping people just get into music and see that there is something outside of the academic world that they can get into and achieve at. Obviously, there's loads of artists that are Audioactive doing really well right now, getting thousands of streams, some of them getting involved into the front of Bandcamp. And also as the man we've mentioned, Ardy, he's just been put on the front page of Spotify. It's
big moves, isn't it? Like there's a lot of really successful kids coming out. Well, not necessarily coming out of Audioactive. Like Audioactive is a process that spits you out. But yeah, been affiliated. Like there were so many workshops and sessions that Audioactive like deliver through Brighton, and you got kids like Derek DAC. Like you mentioned, got on the front page of Bandcamp.
Casper the Ghost. And they won like a competition to basically win like a year's worth of artist development with Audioactive's team and like a budget to use for their stuff. So those are two that are definitely like doing a lot. Yeah, and like we say, ArrDee, who's recently just exploded, mate. It's so crazy. Like he's gone from, like you say, like thousands of views on his freestyles and things like that to millions of views in a day. Like he literally has 2.2 million views on the Oliver Twist video, which came out 2 days ago. Sorry to interrupt. And he's also got a reaction from Mia Khalifa, but that's another topic.
It's been quite an interesting like a sense of fame for him, and it's just interesting to see like that happen to someone in Brighton, because he's the first kind of rapper for that to happen to for Brighton. I mean, previous like I guess alumni of Audioactive include people like Rizzle Kicks, include people like Rag and Bone Man. But it's like it's not popped off in the sense of like an underground rapper before doing things independently. I mean, he's now releasing stuff through Universal Music, but I guess it's just interesting. It's very interesting to see, you know, like what's coming out of our city and what's like possible and what's, you know, what things that we never thought were possible. Everything can change in like the space of like 5 months. Do you know what I mean? This all started like 5 months ago. He kind of released a video in like January or the start of the month or something. Cheeky Bars. That popped hard. Millions of views.
Yeah.
Loads of great reactions. And then he followed it up with another good one, 6 a.m. in Brighton, shooting all of his videos in Brighton as well with like Alfie Corty, who's a local videographer. Yeah, it's interesting, man. It's really interesting because he was the first feature on the Body remix, which was like #1 record in the UK. Like absolutely mashing up TikTok, like people are loving his verse on TikTok. It's crazy.
People's nans are getting involved on it as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know if you've seen that TikTok, but there's a guy and his nan just gets dressed up in like a tracksuit, and then she just gets involved. But yeah, like I don't know, like
his verse, like Ardy's verse in the background of that TikTok. It's kind of crazy. Like I don't know. Like, say if this was you, Shaman, like how would you be feeling right now? Like if this was your music and all of this stuff was happening like in the space of like 5 months, like what would you be trying to do next?
I'd just be trying to maintain the success, but at the same time just being like just got to keep on working. Like just because you get to that that level of success, like, doesn't mean that your work's done. Like, you just got to keep maintaining it all the time. Otherwise you just sort of go into, I wouldn't say obscurity, like, people get too comfortable in terms of like in their success, and then they just stop working just because they know that they've got their accolades and their fame and their money, and they just get lost in that. And there's like plenty of examples of that through like history of music, of where people have had a few hits, and then like you never really hear them on that level again, whenever it's their fault or if it's the industry's fault. Like, it's like you just gotta keep on working. Like, so what's the next song gonna be like that? How can we do better than that? Or if it doesn't get as many views, like, what can we do to show people?
Yeah, how are we gonna react? You know, it's an interesting thing, to be fair, because it's like you say, there's lots of examples of people popping up, getting super hot, and then dropping off straight away. In like, relatively speaking, you know. And I've been quite interested in watching him, like, seeing like, okay, how is this gonna follow up, you know, like what's gonna come next, you know. And I was kind of like, I was feeling apprehensive, like, I was like, okay, cool, I see that this is happening and I'm excited. Like, it's exciting, like, I find it exciting, like, seeing this happen. And at the same time kind of having these doubts of like, okay, how long is this gonna last for him? Because it's like, you know, I'm happy to see him success. I'm happy to see him win. That's awesome for him. And it's like, is this going to be a sustainable thing for him? And he released this new song, Oliver Twist, like 2 days ago. And on seeing that video, and he's like continuing this kind of persona, and the video kind of like leveled things up in terms of like the production and the concept behind like what he'd been putting out. For me, I was just watching that and I was like, okay, do you know what I mean? Like, maybe this guy can do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, for me, the sign of someone who's going to be able to continue and sustain that is someone who can then later on make like albums that are good, you know, that are really great, and that people will listen to the album, because that's very much like what our industry is about. Like, eventually, if you want to continue, dude's going to have to make an album. Do you know what I mean? Because if you want, like, it's just the way the industry works. Like, if you want to tour and if you want to be relevant, you kind of have to tour. And if you want to tour, you got to have something to promote. So you need some kind of EP or some kind of package that people see is worth. I mean, if you had if you just kept dropping hot singles, to be fair, you could probably tour just off singles. But like, do you see where I'm going with that? Like, I want to see more. Like, I'm interested in where this story is going. Do you feel what I mean?
I do. Yeah. Like, and we're at very early stages of the chapter and the next chapter of this story.
Yeah, chapters fully.
Maybe call it an autobiography, but basically, but the next chapter of it really is to see how crowds react to like his songs. And I don't have any doubts about that, because I've seen like a few videos of where sort of like gatherings that, let's be honest, at the moment shouldn't really be happening. But at the same time, like, I've seen these and people just like rap into a song, and like they seem to know nearly every word of the song. So I don't know, like, maybe it will correlate to a live performance. But hey, let's see when these live performances can actually happen, and to see what happens when ArrDee's reception of like a festival or something.
Yeah.
Like, is he just? I'm not doubting him at all, but like, is it just going to be like hotness happening over social media, or is it going to correlate into live performances? And like, when he does eventually release a project, like, can he keep up to that? And so that's the main question I think loads of people got on their mind about him.
And I can imagine as well that, like, having popped off in the way he's popped off, which again, like, I think it's just such an interesting case study for like anyone in the music business, like, especially the amount of like young aspiring rappers there are, not just in our city as well. Like, definitely for our city, this is super, super interesting, but for any city, like, really, just like any city outside of London, pretty much, especially after like you've had H popping off in the way he has, and like coming from Manchester and being outside of London in that way. And, you know, people like Bugsy Malone coming out of Birmingham and shit like that. yeah, it's like, what's the live reaction going to be? Because no one's seen a live show in so long. I mean, you and I have seen him perform, right? We saw him perform at Custom Vibes at the Rose Hill, which is one of it's actually again an Audioactive night. It's a night that I run that night for anyone listening. Please come to our show after lockdown. No, I'm joking. For anyone listening, like, it's basically a night that we put on a bunch of young people every month, and it's like a showcase for young talent and up and coming talent to just get on a stage. And for a lot of people, it's their first show. For some people, it's a chance to get on a stage with people who are much more experienced than them. But it's always a good night. And yeah, ArrDee played on that stage, and that was a really great performance, in my opinion. He did this thing where he brought out his mum and did kind of like a Dear Mama Tupac moment, and kind of like sat her down on a chair on stage and like rapped to her on stage. It was endearing, do you know what I mean? And it's like, he's kind of got this cheeky chappy persona, which is like, I don't think it's too out of line of what his real...
That's his nickname.
Do you know what I mean? He's cheeky chappy, like, that's basically, that's his vibe. And that feels quite authentic, but also I'm interested to see, like, with the drillier sound that he's bringing now, which he wasn't really bringing before, like, I can imagine that popping off on stage. I really can. Like, I actually look forward to seeing him live. Do you know what I mean? And I probably wouldn't have said that before, but seeing the way that imagine how other people will probably be, especially in Brighton, like if he did a hometown show in Brighton, I feel like people would be gagging to see him. I feel like people would be all over that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can definitely see playing a venue that's like packed or something. Like I can even see him like playing Concord at some point.
I definitely can see him playing Concord at some point. Yeah, whether that's right now, I'm not sure. I think obviously we'd have to see, but mate, I'd love to see him grow. I'd love to see him reach real pinnacles.
If a show happened, like announced tomorrow that ArrDee was going to be playing Green Door Store, like even a supporting act for somebody that's bigger than him, which I mean is a bit difficult at the moment.
In terms of Brighton rappers, like local Brighton, like arguably he's the one with the biggest spotlight right now. If you're talking about local talent, like I have no issues saying that.
I think in terms of generally, I think he's got one of the biggest spotlights in the country right now.
Potentially, mate. If I feel like we're on a bit of almost like commentating on football, but like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, yeah, but it's interesting. Do you know what I mean? I think it's possible to argue that. I mean, because he's had, like you say, he's had this like massive, almost growth spurt. It's like everyone's very much like watching him. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if even if ArrDee wasn't in the question, I don't know who I would say has the biggest rap spotlight in the country. But I mean, I guess you could say he's a contender for sure in my eyes, anyway.
Yeah. I mean, just to wrap this off.
Yeah.
Basically, I had a look at his monthly listeners, and he's got more monthly listeners now than AJ Tracy.
That's impressive. I'm not gonna lie. That is impressive because AJ Tracy just released a new album as well in the last like month or so.
Yeah, obviously my favourite song on that album is the song with T-Pain.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah.
The features on there, incredible. Serious list of features on that album.
Yeah, it's an incredible album. So
serious,
yeah,
but let's take a break. Let's come back and we'll talk some new vibes. All right.
Trust your journey. Trust your journey. Trust your journey.
So I've got a couple of quickfire questions I'm going to ask you, and I've dropped these kind of on every episode of the podcast so far. I keep saying that they're going to be icebreakers and they're going to be at the start, but like the last couple of episodes, like we're just talking, so it's like I haven't needed to drop them at the start because like I'm talking to people I know, so it's like it's actually really calm. Like, but I think they're fun questions, and it's like it's good to just get an insight into someone's personality. So like. First question, and I mean, you may or may not answer this because I don't know how much you cook at home, but like, what are some of your favourite seasonings to cook with, if any?
So what happened is that I did cooking videos for my youth work and just sort of me like learning how to cook, and it's helped me a little bit. And I'm like, every time I go into the kitchen, it's not loads, by the way. But whenever I do go into the kitchen and like help mum out with like cooking and just doing jobs, yeah, it's just got better. But in terms of like the seasoning bit, I don't really cook, so it's not really a relevant question to me.
Oh, I respect that. Well, maybe if I flip the situation, like, what's your favourite sauce to put on your food?
You're talking to somebody that owns a lot of sauce.
This is why it's an excellent question. You got all the sauce, G. You got sauce for days.
I like barbecue sauce.
Uh-huh.
I also like burger sauce as well.
Ooh, yeah. Burger sauce is solid, not just on burgers.
I like it with chips as well.
Nice.
I mean, I haven't always put sauce on like things that you probably would put sauce on.
You're a dry boy. You like it without sauce.
It's like, it's come to a point that my mum's like, would give me something that doesn't really need sauce in it, and she'd be like, I need to do something in the kitchen, can you go and get your sauce? And I'm just like, this does not need sauce.
It's all to taste, mate. It's all to taste. It's all to taste. All right, well, okay, well then, that being said, I'm going to ask you, what is one of your pet peeves?
Could you elaborate what that means?
That's all right. It's not necessarily that much of a common expression. A pet peeve is like something that really annoys you, like that people do, and that you're just like, oh, that me off.
To be honest, not a lot of things really like annoy me like that. To be fair, this is a difficult question, really.
Hey, I mean, mate, if you don't have pet peeves, then that tells me that you're quite a relaxed and tolerant guy.
Like I always try to get the best out of every situation. If somebody's like annoyed or I get annoyed, I'm just thinking, cool. Instead of moaning about it, and instead of like just getting annoyed if something breaks or if something changes in the schedule, like for example, like if somebody can't meet up with me because they've got their schedule mucked up, like it's not the worst thing in the world. I'm just like, okay, yeah, cool. Wish like you could have told me earlier, but like it's cool. So
keep it moving, right?
Like life's about that, and like I just try and look at the positive things of ways that I can end up just doing something else instead if somebody can't commit to something or there's been a change in like their life, like especially like if it's all of a sudden as well and something pops up and like they forget about it or something. I'm just like, that's fine. Like things happen, and if they change to a later date or something, then I guess it was meant to be. Like maybe there was a destiny for it to happen later on.
It's funny you say that because that's happened quite a few times. Well, in my life really, but like I remember it sometimes because you ever happen to you when like you're living your life and everything, and then all of a sudden everyone's just like things just aren't going to plan, and it's just like frustrating. And then after a while you realise that actually some good things have happened because like maybe your friend cancelled on you, but you ended up bumping into someone on the way home and that you hadn't seen in ages because you didn't walk to go meet them. Or like maybe you were saving up to buy something and then it got sold out, but then you realise that, and then you hear like loads of people had problems with the thing that they bought, so actually you saved your money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like there was a game that came out a few months ago on PS5. It was called Outriders. And basically, I was originally going to buy this game when it came out, but everybody before everybody got updates on that game, everyone was experiencing problems with their games not saving. So they'd be on a few missions or something. They log out of it to do something else, and then they come back on it and they've lost their game save.
Oh mate, that's so devastating.
Like, and even though it's an autosave game, sometimes the autosave just corrupts.
No.
So what I do with games, even though it's an autosave game, and like probably 99.9% of games are autosave at the moment, unless it's a remaster, like based on an old game. Which involves some of the old functionalities of like having to save the game every time you get to a different part of it. But I do that anyway. so I have a backup save in case the autosave corrupts, and then I can go into that save and then just play it from that save.
Man, no chances being taken, mate.
I did that. I've done that for quite a few games. I did that for Miles Morales.
Yo, how was Miles Morales? Because I really wanted to play Spider-Man, like Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales. I don't have a PS4, so like, tell me, give me some details, bro. I want to know what that game's like.
Well, I played it on PS5, so...
Jeez, he's a big man! He's a big man!
I played it on PS5 and completed it within 24 hours.
Are you serious?
Yeah. No, but when I say... let me elaborate. So when I say complete it, I don't mean as in, like, 100% achievements, completed all the tasks... So because in Spider-Man they give you like loads of side tasks and side missions. I mean the story.
Okay.
So like I don't mean as in like I got a platinum trophy for the game because I got all the trophies.
Mad.
But I just mean as in the story. Yeah, I just like sweated on it for.
Was it that good? Was it that fun?
Yeah, like I get really like sometimes I go through periods of when I'm playing a game and I'm just like I'm not really into this, and then I pick it up at a later time. I install it, play something else, and then I'm just thinking, oh, I want to play this, for example. Like, okay, I didn't really rate it the first time. Let me play it again, and then I get really into it and I can't get off it.
Mad. It kind of like takes you by surprise.
It's like, and another example of it happening is a game that I've just completed today, actually, and it was called Ratchet Clank.
I love the OG Ratchet Clank, and this new game that's come out looks awesome, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, Rift Apart.
Was that the one you were playing?
No, that's the one I've pre-ordered for Friday.
Which one did you play that you really loved?
The 2016 one. So the remake of the 2002 PlayStation 2 one.
Mad.
There's loads of like other Ratchet and Clank games that are on like PS2 and PS3. But I've only just become a fan of Ratchet and Clank in like the last few years.
Mad. The only Ratchet and Clank game I've played was on PSP. In like 2016.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to the new one, Rift Apart. It's a PlayStation 5 exclusive.
They like their exclusives, mate. They do love their exclusives.
And do you know some people really get annoyed, like if a game, for example, like Ratchet and Clank, or another game that I've really enjoyed over the last year, it's called Days Gone. It's kind of similar to The Walking Dead, and in terms of like it's a zombie apocalypse game, like survival. It's like you're just trying to get armor, you're trying to get fuel to fill up your motorbike because you're traveling around, and if you haven't got fuel for your motorbike, you've got to walk back to your camp to get fuel.
Oh, dangerous.
And sometimes that can be miles, and like you could have like a horde of zombies coming at you.
Oh mate,
probably like 200 zombies coming at you, and
mate.
like you've got to like run away.
Mate, how fast are the zombies as well?
It depends what difficulty it's on, really. Like I played it on normal, and like normal they were pretty quick. If I played it on easy, I've recently played games on easy because sometimes I get like frustrated, and some of these games, particularly another like zombie apocalypse game, it's like Resident Evil. I played Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
And that's the first Resident Evil game that I've like completed.
Those games can be really difficult as well.
I played it on normal.
Yeah.
And I must have died. It tells you how many times you've died as well.
that's
just to rub it in.
No.
So I completed. So I died 60 times. On normal difficulty, and it's saying to me after you finish the game, oh, do you want to play professional? And I'm just like, no.
No, I don't.
No, I don't want to play professional. Yes, I'll get all my guns and I'll get all my life that I've received in the normal version.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go through that again.
Yeah, fair.
Unless it's a different Resident Evil.
Yeah, I'm not trying to do that.
Yeah. But anyway, just like in terms of games, like games has always been like a big part of my life as well. When I was 4 or 5, I got introduced to the PlayStation 2. Just sort of like with help, I was like playing my first games. So one of my first games was WWE SmackDown Shut Your Mouth.
Wow.
And that came out in 2002. So it didn't come out that long after that came. I didn't play it that long after it came out.
Yeah.
And it was really a good stepping stone for me. It proved to me in terms of my coordination, because with my coordination, like I'm dyspraxic for the viewers that that don't know who I am. Dyspraxia is basically where you have struggle when you have problems with coordinating. You struggle with day-to-day things such as, for me, doing shoelaces, doing ties, cooking, cleaning, just like life skills that you need to get through every day. And I struggle with that. And obviously, like, I do get a little bit annoyed with it annoyed with it sometimes, because I'm just thinking, if I did this or was able to function myself so I can do this like everybody else can, then I think I'd be all right. Yeah.
I was going to say, like, bearing in mind that you've kind of started this new persona, like just the fact that you mentioned your dyspraxia, like, and I remember the name, like even the name of your persona, old artist alias was Spraxa, like taken from the word dyspraxia.
Yeah.
How, like, with this new persona, like not necessarily like having that as the forefront of the persona, like, is that still like incorporating? Like, obviously, I know this is something that is part of your day-to-day life, right? So, like, is that playing a part in your music? Is that playing a part in any lyrics that you write? Is that playing a part in any of the like things that you write about? Do you know what I mean? Or is it kind of more of the background of your experience and like what you choose to talk about when as a songwriter?
I think it's always going to be involved in terms of my music, and like I've wrote one song like just going into it, but it's not at the forefront for the song.
Yeah. Well, what did you in that song? Like, what did you talk about? Was it just like a couple lyrics that you mentioned it in, or was it like a
just sort of like isolation? Like, because obviously, for the viewers that don't know, I'm also autistic, so just talking about like isolation in terms of obviously during COVID, like I sort of had a breakdown at one point of like basically not knowing who was actually there for me. In terms of like the pandemic, people getting on with their stuff and just trying to see who was really going to be my real friends through this crisis that we're all in.
Definitely not me. I'm not helping you, mate. You're on your own.
That was brilliant.
Yes. I'm sorry, you were like actually talking about something really honestly, and I'm just coming in with just the sarcasm.
No, it's fine. I can take that. Like, if we were having this discussion probably when I was like 15 or 16, then I probably would have took that more to heart. The fact that you've like kind of subtly interrupted me and
very,
started
very
being
subtly.
a little bit and was a little bit sarcastic.
I mean, that's interesting though. I mean, I know I'm interrupting you again, but I think but this time like actually with something relevant. Like, do you notice like the fact that you just pointed that out, you know, like that maybe if you were a bit younger, like things like that maybe would have kind of hit home like a little bit more. Like, what are you noticing that's different about you now? Now you're 21, aren't you?
Yep, I'm 21. Turned 21 in April.
Yeah, come on, Taurus gang, you and me. Yeah, boy. I mean, yeah, what do you notice that's different about you from like maybe those kind of like 4 or 5 years ago that have passed to now? You know, like what's new about you that you're like kind of proud of in that sense?
Like I've always kept my integrity, like during during my years, and like just obviously like just learning more about the world. I've just sort of kept things a bit more like private in that sense without even like thinking about it. Like I don't post on social media a lot, like in terms of me, unless it's like music related. I don't really post like a lot of stuff about my life, and I happen to like, if it's something to do with my life, I don't just post it all over like social media. Like I've just sorted out, and if there's something like urgent that I need to talk about regarding my life, then I'll talk about it. But I used to throw everything on social media in terms of like how I was feeling, and sometimes I subtly hint it like in terms of things that I share and like thoughts that I have, but like not to the point that like anybody will notice.
Maybe like hints and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's showing that I'm in a good place, so like it's not really like bad, and if it was bad, then I would tell people about it. But I don't know if I'd post it like all over social media. I'd just DM people, message people about it, because obviously you've got to talk to people about things going on, and apart from like obviously hearing about people not speaking about their feelings, unfortunately, it's like it's put them in some really bad places.
It's really true, and I think you and I, you know, we both know people in our lives that have like maybe held stuff back for too long or for too much, and it's really negatively impacted those people. And you know, I can hold my hands up as well to say that I've done that. I've definitely done that. Like not been like communicating how I feel about things that are really affecting me, like good or bad, actually. Like even sometimes like I've done something that's like really sick and I just don't tell anyone, do you know? Or like just as like the same as like maybe it's something's really eating me up inside, like something's really upsetting me, or like I'm really dealing with like some difficult news or difficult thoughts and stuff, and I just really hold on tight to those thoughts. But I guess, you know, moral of the story, man, like when you let go of those things, I mean, it sounds like you're already kind of learning. That's what you've been learning, right? Like when you let go of those things, when you're kind of open and you just, like you say, like you talk to someone about it, maybe instead of being posting on your status, like you just talk to people in your DMs, like just actually have conversations with people, you know?
Yeah, and like I'm just reading like loads of stuff on social media, just like educating myself on social media. Like I've got more involved into like learning about sort of like the state of political affairs in our country.
Big topics.
So I wrote a song which I've actually showed to your dad, to be fair.
No way.
I actually showed him a song that I made, and it was called Cronyism.
Nice.
I don't know if you know what that term means.
I can have a go. I think I know what it is. So I have a go and then you tell me if I'm right. It's like cronyism. If someone's your crony, it's like someone's like your mate that you just give a position of power in terms of like what you can control because they're your mate. So like when the government like gives like a completely brand new company like a massive multi-million-pound budget to make PPE just because it's owned by their mate, and the company is like worth like literally £1.
Do you want to phone a friend, or do you want a second answer? Or?
Is that? I mean, how close am I? Like, I feel like I've kind of got it, but like, what am I missing?
No, you're not missing anything. It's the correct answer.
Oh yes, mate! I just won £1 million. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
So.
The confetti is raining down on me in the studio right now, and everyone's just on their feet cheering. Well done! Wow, he's won £1 million.
So yeah, that's the song that I'm looking to release at some point. I still need somebody to mix and master it and make sure that it sounds ready.
Yeah.
But it's basically talking about the situation with the Tories. David Cameron's position in terms of like working with private businesses and contracts, the COVID contracts that have obviously been happening, Boris Johnson's conversation.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, that was just a song that's going on, and I've sort of been reading about that stuff, and I've started reading a book. It's this book from Edward Snowden.
Yeah, guy from WikiLeaks, right?
Yeah.
Is it called Permanent Record? It's like an autobiography.
Yeah, so it's talking about the telecommunications between the US government and obviously the post 9/11 stuff. And obviously like his history and technology, loads of like different interesting stuff. And that's the first time that I've sort of like read a book in ages.
Yeah.
Like I'm just sort of more of a visual person watching documentaries about stuff. So just reading something on like paper, like a book, for the first time in ages was refreshing. My mum gave me her new tablet.
Nice. Did you kind of like read like an ebook?
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, I've started reading because of my dissertation.
Oh damn! You've reached the dissertation stage. Congratulations, bro.
Not yet, but I'm preparing for my dissertation.
Is it next year, or is it like
no year after?
Oh wow! So you're kind of gearing up for it already, bro. I like that. I respect that a lot. In fact, I really, really admire that.
I'm reading stuff generally, but like I'm also going to be looking into books that talk about sort of like music and how people with learning disabilities like sort of like work in music and how it's inspiring a positive change for them.
Nice.
In terms of their social interactions, how they deal with the coordination, like for example with my dyspraxia. And I'm thinking about doing a case study for a youth orchestra that I've previously been a part of, like doing like rapping for, and I want to go back there and take part, but also see if I can get permission to talk about them in my dissertation.
Yeah,
as a project to count towards my final grade for uni. Yeah, because that would be a really good way of ending my education on a high, because even though that probably won't be the last thing that I do like in education, like after that I'm gonna be doing a youth work qualification after uni, which won't take long, but it means that I've got a piece of paper to also do youth work as well as music.
Yeah.
So I've just different options. And also, I'm going to be doing a FA Level 1 football coaching qualification as well.
Nice, okay.
I've been going somewhere recently to watch someone I know. He coaches a football team.
Nice.
And so I've just been learning from him. Yeah, he works with teenagers, so...
Right, man.
So just sort of doing stuff like that. But yeah, that's me at the moment. Sort of like my goals, my aspirations, and... just wanting to get through.
Nice, bro.
Generally. So
nice. I like that. I mean, that sounds like a really cool place to kind of like wind down our convo and just talking like, what are you going for in the future? Like, what's on your mind now in terms of like things that you really are certain that you want to achieve? You're reading books for your dissertation. You're thinking about getting a qualification in youth work so that after you graduate, you know, you've got some kind of accreditation behind you. Like, what else is on your mind that you're like, this is part of my plan, you know?
Eventually, like I've been looking at like other stuff that I can do sort of like during the summer. So if I can take leave from my job, basically a good opportunity for me is to like volunteer abroad and just have, number one, it's a free holiday. Well, it's not a free holiday, like you got to pay for stuff, but number two, just getting experience of like different living conditions, and obviously go abroad, which I haven't done like ever. I've never been abroad. Like the most abroad place that I've been is Isle of Wight.
I guess it's considered abroad, right? It's technically across the water.
So
that's really on your list, because I remember we were trying to plan a trip before this went down. So that's still on your list. Nice. That sounds like a personal goal as well.
Yeah, but in terms of me and like my goals, I want to make a living with music. Like either if that's like a full-time living when I'm selling out shows and selling records, getting chart positions, you know it. All just earning a living off music with a solid fan base, but also helping the community out.
Yeah.
Just teaching young people how to do what we do.
Nice.
And just mainly just getting involved in like community work as well, because I want to see change for the better, but I don't feel like that change the better happens, and we just get lied to a lot. By just big like corporations and billionaires who shouldn't be billionaires, because I generally feel like there shouldn't be a billionaire in this world.
While all these people have to go hungry, why are there people that can afford to end poverty many times over?
But they don't. It's like, for example, and just for example, somebody who's got autism or Asperger's, like Elon Musk, for example. Obviously, it's his condition, and like we should notice it. But at the same time, like he's a billionaire, and he's had many chances to do what he does. Apparently there was a leak. And I'm not saying for certain because I don't know personally, but there was a comment saying like he's trying to cure autism.
That's crazy.
But at the moment it's just all talk unless there's a source out there. I haven't looked into too much, so I'm not gonna go massively into detail.
Yeah. The world is a crazy place, isn't it? And it's like, especially given what's going on now, it feels like it's difficult to have some certainty, you know, and difficult to just know what the hell's going on. So I really appreciate you just letting me into your brain, bro, and just telling me what's going on from your perspective of things, because, you know, sometimes I just get wrapped up in my own world, man. And it's nice to be able to hear, like, someone who I know and care about that also has a different view to things than I do, because it helps kind of bring me back to the fact that it's like, it's not just me, you know. It's like there's other people doing this, there's other ways of doing things, and it's wicked to hear about how much music you're making as well, like the mindset you're taking to it, and just writing songs and doing your thing, man. Like I'm proud of you, man. Like, keep it up. Like, you're doing really well.
Yeah, just trying to put my disability on the map as well, because there's loads of people talk about autism, loads of people talk about dyslexia, but I don't know if I'm ignorant or not, but like dyspraxia just doesn't get the same limelight as those two.
Yeah, and you're trying to like raise awareness in it, and like be like, look, this is what's going on, man. Like people are living through this experience day to day. So, you know, share that, man. You're building yourself a platform, man, and the more you work on that, and the longer you continue to build it, like the larger it's going to become, you know, and you're really going to be able to make some powerful statements.
Having dyspraxia and trying to rap is a challenge.
Yeah.
That I've managed to succeed.
Yeah, to overcome, right?
Yeah, definitely.
My G, literally, I appreciate your conversation, bro, and it's always nice to just sit down and catch up. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's for this podcast or just when we're just chatting over the phone. So it was nice to be able to get this one on record, I guess, and hopefully you listeners, you've been enjoying it, and you know, I think we had a good time, bro. Is there anything you want to say to the world before we peace out?
Stay safe, and yeah, just keep working, and obviously if you've managed to keep on working and keeping creative during this time of need to create unity as a society, then congratulations. Nice.
Yeah, you're right. It's difficult. It's a challenge, like you said. Overcome it. Well, can I wrap it off? Can I ask you one favour?
Yeah.
Can I get you to do like a shout out for the podcast before we go? Can I just get you to say, I'm Mac Perry and you're listening to Trust Your Journey?
I'm Mac Perry and you're listening to Trust Your Journey.
Jeez! One and done, star. Yes, sir. Yeah, man. All right. That was wicked, mate. Yeah, you did that justice, bro. I appreciate you, man. I can hear like birds chirping out your window. It's beautiful. Yeah, innit? But yeah, thank you for coming on, bro. And I really appreciate you. I've got a lot of love for you. And yeah, thank you so much once more.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you for having me.
A pleasure, bro. I'll speak to you soon.
Amazing.
Thank you so much for listening all the way through. I know you enjoyed it because you're still here.
So hit that follow button and you'll get notified when the next episode drops, which at the moment is the second Thursday of the month. Also, a big thank you to our editor for the series, Ty Harrison. Because you're so close to my heart and one of my priorities is to make your life better, I want you to do something for me. I want you to screenshot this podcast, tag me on Instagram, and tell me what your biggest learning was from the conversation you just heard, which could be anything, could be absolutely anything. Whatever you've learned, I'll share you on my story. You can have 24 hours of fame. How is that for a good deal? Honestly, come on. And maybe even drop you a little DM as well. We'll see. I really look forward to hearing from you. I'm sending you peace. I'm sending you love. And I'm reminding you above all to always trust your journey.